The next section of your task is the harmonization and transposition. You can find this file in your, you can find this PDF in your files. Remember, you need to harmonize this with the chord progression number 1, which is the 1 chord, the tonic, and the subdominant 4/6/4, and then 5/7. Every note of your melodic line, you can see that it's underlines where you need to underline under the note, the melody. That's where you need to apply the chord. You either can stay on the same, of course, preferably if you change it, but there is no option for the flow, for the music, for the idea, for the phrasing to sounding better. Yes, you can stay on the same chord if you find it necessary. Now, I'm gonna play the examples. It's number 59 of the PDF, the top one. It's in D major. Every note of the melody, when you have this underlines, you need to match with the chord. If you decide to go with certain chords and the note doesn't belong to that chord, which means, if you, for example, if you choose to play 5/7 with the first degree of the scale, we're starting on D, and the key signature is the D major, and the D will be considered number 1. If you decide to play D with 5/7 in D major, that will be wrong. Not only gonna sound not good, but the 5/7 chord doesn't have D inside. It's an A7, and in a chord progression we're going to go C sharp, G, and A. So D doesn't belong there. You either can go where you can find the D. You can find inside of the 4th chord, 4/6/4 chord, or in a tonic. Now the choice is yours. If you want to start with subdominant, go ahead. So I'm gonna play, and I probably will start with 4/6/4. But you can start it as a tonic as well. So that was 4/6/4/2/1. But if you look at the melody, your melody represents fully tonic chord. You have individually D, F sharp, A. If you put them all together, you're gonna have D major thread. So for that reason, I think better to start with tonic. And then you can change to 4/6/4 on a second measure D, which is again, it's the D is the common note between those two chords, tonic and subdominant. Chord progression of D major. Remember, D, F sharp, A, D, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C sharp, G, so you can find this file, PDF file, also in your files in Canvas. So I'm starting tonic, and then I'm changing to subdominant, which is 4/6/4 chord, instead of staying on tonic, but I could stay. You see? And then second measure, if I do so, I go definitely to 4/6/4, because this is another D. Which can be matched with 4/6/4. But don't stay definitely 3 measures on tonic. Don't do that. Beginning again, tonic, 4/6/4. Then I can stay 4/6/4, and then tonic back with A. A is the 5th of the scale, and my tonic chord has that A inside of it. Measure number 5. After using that much of tonic, we definitely need to change 5th of the scale, which is A. We definitely can use dominant with it. And then D can be used as 4/6/4, or can be used as tonic. based on the next following beat, which is A, which belongs to the tonic as well. So I think it's better flow. For the better flow, you use tonic there. So 5/7 for measure 5, tonic, second line of it. It's a G, it's a fourth of the scale. Remember, fourth of the scale can be used as a 5/7 as well, because that's the scale degree. When you're adding on top of the dominant chord, you're creating dominant 7th chord instead of just staying root position triad. I can do this, and then tonic. So that was first measure on the second line, or I can do subdominant, which is clear subdominant as well. You see, G and B, both notes. The G is underlined, means you're changing the chord. But the following note B also belongs to subdominant. Your subdominant chord in left hand has D, G, B. You have 2 common notes instead. Continuing to the next measure. So after subdominant on the second line, I'm going back to tonic with the 5th of the scale. Now next measure, it's a D. I can do tonic, stay on the tonic, and do this. Or I can change the D with subdominant. Third measure D can go subdominant, because D again is the common note between tonic and 4/6/4. And then do tonic on A, and then 5/7 on the next measure. And then finishing on tonic. So the last 2 measures again, 5th of the scale starts on downbeat. I'm going 5/7, and then tonic. So now, next is transposition. What you have, transposing means, again, changing the key. Changing the key into different major. Right now we're gonna deal only with whole step up from the original key, or half step up from the original key, or whole step down or half step down from the original key, which means if we have D major, whole step up, it's going to be E flat. Wait a second, sorry for my... So whole step up going to be E major, and half step up from original key D major going to be E flat. So half step from D major will be E flat, which the same melody we need to play in E flat major, or whole step up, it's going to be E major. Now, half step or whole step down from the original key will be either D flat, or you can think as a C sharp, which is the same thing on the notes, but notation will be different, or whole step down is going to be C major. Okay? Now I'm gonna demonstrate all 4 options with number 59. The chords, try to stay on the same. Whatever you choose to play for transposition, stay with the same chords. Now I'm starting number 59. I am playing in E flat major, which means I'm going to transpose this half step up. D major turns into E flat major. And the chord progression, of course, you need to review. In E flat major chord progression, E flat, G, B flat, E flat, A flat, C, E flat, G, B flat, back to tonic, and then 5/7 will be D, A flat, B flat. So I'm playing this in E flat major. Starting tonic, and then doing subdominant, staying open. So I did 4/6/4 and then ended on tonic. Now time for dominant. Remember your key signature. Your E flat major has 3 flats. So I don't remember what I did in the first one. I'll say tonic. No, 4/6/4. Now I remember. 4/6/4 and then tonic. And the last 2 measures goes starting with 5/7 and ends on tonic. So that was E flat. You can stick with the same chords, whatever you harmonize in original key. Now I'm going whole step up, which means my D major turns into E major, whole step above from D to E. And instead of now 3 flats, like I did in E flat major, I'm going to have 4 sharps. Intervals reading, recognition of the intervals is the key of success in transposition. When you just clearly see what kind of intervals you have from one to another, it makes your job much easier among with key signature knowledge. Remember this. If you see it's a major third or minor third, it makes your job easier to find the same exact thing in a different key. But once you struggle to identify, it's going to be really, really hard. Make sure that you cover that part of reading the intervals correctly. E major. Now I'm transposing this in E major. Chord progression in E major. E, G sharp, B, remember? 4/6/4 will be E, A, C sharp, E, G sharp, B, and then D sharp, A, B. So I'm playing now in E major, the same exact melody. I'm using the same exact chords. So this was the E major, which means whole step above from the original key. Now I'm going down, half step down. So D turns into D flat. When you're just thinking the same key, changing from D major to D flat, the only thing you need to do, reading the same exact notes, but remember the key signature. Your sharps definitely going to be cancelled, and you adding the amount of flats. How many flats do you have in B in D flat major? 5. B, E, A, D, G. Now I'm gonna play all of this again, half step down from D major, which is D flat major. Same pattern of the chords. After tonic, I use 4/6/4, stay on it. And then 5/7 in a major 5. Tonic. Second line will be 4/6/4. And then tonic. Third major on the line, 4/6/4. 5/7, half step down from the original key, transposition. And finally, whole step down from D, whole step down to going to be C major. Your favorite one probably. No sharps, no flats. Chord progression in C major is C, E, G as a tonic, C, F, A, that will be your 4/6/4 subdominant, second inversion, back to C, E, G, and then 5/7 in the first inversion, omitting the fifth, remember that. So it's going to be B, F, and G, and then tonic. Same chords order. Tonic, 4/6/4. Stay on it. Tonic, and then 5/7. Tonic back, 4/6/4. Tonic back, and then 4/6/4. Tonic, and then 5/7. Tonic. All what you have on your music score, you're reading according to the transposition. If you're going whole step down, that means you're reading everything whole step down. Every note was printed out there, you're reading whole step down, or whole step up, or half step up or down. So this was the example of your harmonization. Please practice with the same way what I have shown you right now with all of the numbers on the page. 60, 61, 62, 63. Okay? Within the three chords, you have to choose between three chords. Tonic, so dominant, dominant. 1, 4/6/4, 5/6/5. Remember that the notes you choose to play, whatever chords you choose to play, the melody has to match with the chord's notes. That note in the melody is supposed to be inside of the chord. Okay? If you have any question when you watch this video, please let me know. So I'm going to move to the next section of it.